ladies and gentlemen. It's not often that I do a UFO story, but this came out on several different outlets. One was the Washington Post, and this one is the New York Post and dated May 27th, 2019. It came out on History, History Channel. And you can see right there, it came out May 20th, 2019. All right, so these 5 UFO traits seen by Navy fighters defy explanation. And this came out on New York Magazine, so it came out on several outlets, as you can see. So, New York Post, Navy pilots spotted UFOs flying at hypersonic speed, report. May 27th, 2019. So it's been coming out on different social media sites. But let's get into this. I just found it a bit interesting. Navy pilots were seeing UFOs on an almost daily basis in 2014 and 2015. And guess where they saw it on a daily basis, y'all? Over the East Coast. UFOs were appearing over the East Coast of the US every day between 2014 and 2015. Every single day. The unidentified flying objects, so with an S, so it was multiple, look like white tic tacs or spinning tops flying against the wind, and Navy pilots keep reporting their presence over U.S. airspace. In interviews with the New York Times, 5 more pilots have come forward describing their experiences with UFOs flying off the seaboard from Virginia to Florida between 2014 and 2015. So they were spotting these UFOs over the East Coast every single day between Virginia and Florida. One 10-year veteran, Lieutenant Ryan Graves, claimed that he saw UFOs almost daily and that the objects could reach hypersonic speeds and heights of up to 30,000 feet without any visible engines or plumes of infrared exhaust. Graves, who reported his experience to the Pentagon and Congress, said that these things would be out there all day. So they weren't something that just appeared in a millisecond. These objects would be over the East Coast between Virginia and Florida all day long. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, and these things would be out there all day, and that with the speeds we observe, 12 hours in the air is 11 hours longer than we'd expect. In late 2014, a pilot of a Super Hornet reported a near collision with a UFO when an object which looked like a sphere encasing a cube zipped between 2 fighter jets flying around 100 feet apart from each other. Another pilot, Lieutenant Danny Accoin, could identify a flying object's present on his radar, missile system, and infrared camera. but was not able to actually see it in his helmet camera. I knew I had it. I knew it was not a false hit, Acoin said, but still, I could not pick it up visually. So he picked it up on some devices, but on the camera that he had on his helmet, he was not able to pick the object up on at all. It's amazing that they didn't say anything, and this was happening every single day between 2014 and 2015, and they never said nothing until now. Yeah, I forgot these, public panic and all that stuff. But this is so deep. As the Times report, pilot sightings of UFOs have increased since their 1980s era radar was upgraded to a more advanced system, as one fighter jet after another got the new radar. Pilots began picking up the objects, but ignoring what they thought were false radar tracks. So they were seeing it initially. After they upgraded in the 80s, they thought they were seeing things. They didn't think it was real. Wow. What fascinated Lieutenant Graves about his interaction with the objects with their ability to stop rapidly, turn instantly, and immediately accelerate to hypersonic speeds, maneuvers that would burden human pilots with unbearable G forces. Speed doesn't kill you, Graves said. Stopping does, or acceleration. So, nothing that the US bill can even do something like that. They can't do that. Because the sightings occurred in airspace designated for fighter jet training, the pilots concurred that the objects were not classified or commercial drones operating in the area. Still, none of the five, nor the Defense Department, would speculate as to the object's extraterrestrial nature. We're here to do a job with excellence, not make up myths, said Lieutenant Acoin. Wow. Do you know, I remember when Bill Clinton came into office and he said he was going to release information on UFOs, and he was talked out of doing it, and then he backed off of it. But when he first initially went into office, he said he was going to do this. And I remember it. It was a long time ago. Some of you that been around for a while, you might remember this too. And then all of a sudden, it just never happened, and he never spoke about it again. They talked him out of doing it. This is so fascinating, especially when you correlate it with the Bible, and the Bible talks about the chariots coming. you know, and look at the time that this is happening in. Just look at the time frame. We're about to approach the end of the 400 years. And yeah, we can't be the only ones out here. The universe is huge. We definitely can't be the only ones out here. You know, for those able to look past the daily chaos of the Trump administration, the last few years have been something of a quite golden age for UFO enthusiasts, hoping to prove the validity of their interests. First, there was the Pentagon 2017 admission of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, a short-lived 22 million scrap of the defense budget that would investigate reports of unexplained aerial phenomena. Then in November 2018, scientists from the Harvard Smithsonian Center of Astrophysics proposed a long shot hypothesis about the cigar shape of Al Mu'amma Yuma, I guess, which passed through the solar system in 2017. Oh, it's an asteroid. I know what they're talking about. Okay. That's an asteroid that passes through the solar system. In fact, they showed it a couple of times. It's like a long brown, looking cigar. It does look like a cigar when you look at it. I know what they're talking about. It was a solar sail gathering energy from the sun to accelerate through our galaxy neighborhood. The technology isn't all that complicated as humans have already developed it. In April, the Navy announced it is updating and formalizing the process by which pilots report UFO sightings as a means to destigmatize the sharing of information and treat the reports with a more data driven approach. Oh, okay. Luis Elizondo, a former senior intelligence officer, told the Washington Post that it was the single greatest decision the Navy has made in decades. So they're going to be more forthcoming with this information, which is very interesting because I'm going to be on the lookout since this is coming directly from the Navy. Very interesting. At this rate, the president's Space Force might actually have something to do. And I bet because remember he said there's going to be a space military, ladies and gentlemen, and I did it back in the day, video on it. I bet you this has everything to do with it. They're spotting those chariots up there. Back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, in my early 20s, I actually dated a pilot that flew for FedEx. And this guy used to tell me he would see things up there all the time, but they were not allowed to talk about it. They would actually sign contracts saying they could not talk about what they saw up there. But he would tell me all kinds of stories about things he would see up there when he would be flying for FedEx. And he told me one day he was flying to deliver mail to a different state. And he said it was this almost a bus size UFO flying side by side with him up there. And he said he just looked over and watched it. And it said it kept up with him for like 10 minutes. And then it just jetted off real fast. He said at speeds that FedEx plane could never go in. He could never go in those same kind of speeds, that the thing just jetted away. And he told me about another time when two of them zipped past him, and he said they look like round, bright UFOs, and they just zipped right past him in the opposite direction. But he said he saw things up there all the time, but they don't permit airline pilots to just come publicly and talk about that kind of stuff. And I thought it was interesting. We've been hearing these kind of stories forever now. If you've been around for a while, these stories have always been around. Always. I mean, my mother told me stories of things that she would see in the sky growing up. She would every now and then see some things that look weird flying around in the sky. Everybody, you can find people that have these stories, or they'll see those orbs up in the sky. I've seen the orbs before. In fact, I've seen them several times throughout my life. But I just find it interesting that the Navy is coming out with these stories, and they're coming out in multiple newspapers which is astonishing. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen, about these stories. I would pull the one up for the Washington Post. That one's out there too, but it keeps trying to get me to subscribe, and I don't want to subscribe. That's the only reason why I'm not showing you that one. But you could probably pull that one up on your own. I think they also published it like around May 20 something, you know. So you can go out there and try to pull that one yourself. I'm not paying them any subscription. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I find it interesting because if they showed up daily, we are being heavily watched, you know, and it's going and in my opinion, it's going to get to a point when we are not going to be watched no more because they're going to actually come down here. I really do believe that. I absolutely believe it. Peace, family.